I decided to make this video because I'm absolutely sick and tired of hearing Save the NHS. They haven't got enough beds. That is the reason why we're being locked up, to save the NHS. Well, I'm going to show you today that the NHS isn't under as much stress as we're told. In fact, it's average for this time of year. I'm going to start by showing you the bed occupancy in the NHS. If we add up all the beds in all the NHS hospitals, it comes to 128,407 beds. From the 1st of January until today, the 16th of January, there were 14,440 COVID admissions, but we're told that in total there's about 30,000, so that's the figure I'm taking for this percentage I'm going to give you. So 30,000 in total of COVID admissions out of the 128,000 beds works out to a 23.3% bed occupancy for COVID patients. If we're to believe the media, the NHS was under immense strain at Christmas, so much so that the worry was it might collapse, so we had to cancel Christmas. But as it happens, I've found all the December figures for 2020, 2017, 2019 and 2018, and I've had a look at them in relation to just to see if they were normal, if 2020 was a normal death rate, and I'll show you what I found out. These pictures above are my sources, but I've worked it out put it into an Excel spreadsheet so you can see more easily the total deaths for each year's December. I've put a link in the description where you can find these PDFs. And this is my Excel table. As you can see, I've looked at the 4 years, 2017, 2018, 19 and 2020. The red figures are the totals of each column. So in 2017, 53,540 deaths in that December. 2018, 49,117 for the same time period. 52,421 for 2019, and the December that could have put the NHS in crisis was 54,398. Now I'll tell you what the difference is between 2020 December and 2017. The difference is an increase of 858 deaths. I'll just add something. The smaller number at the top of the 2020 column is because the dates don't go from the exact beginning to end. It starts on the 4th and ends on the 27th. So that's what I've added on to compensate for, and I've done it by finding the mean average. Unfortunately, I couldn't get my hands on all of the information I wanted, so I've had to request that under the Freedom of Information Act, and I hope to get those through next week. But I will show you what I could find, and it's the excess deaths in 2020 graph. The figures go from the 28th of December 2019 to the 1st of January this year, and the colour schemes are the Air Force Blue are all deaths in 2020. The turquoise line is all deaths 5-year average, and the darker, I can't decide if it's green or blue, the darkest line is COVID-19. And it's really easy to see this way because you can see that mainly the deaths are in the, I'd say, over 75s. This is the last graph, don't worry. It's from the same time period, 28th December 2019 to the 1st of January this year. The dotted line is all deaths 5-year average. The turquoise bars are deaths not involving COVID, and the Air Force Blue is deaths involving COVID. Now it's really easy to see that there are mainly deaths not involving COVID, and the title does actually say that those deaths were below the 5-year average, which makes me wonder, were they clumped in with the COVID deaths to bump up the figures? But we don't know that, it's just my assumption. But I thought this was quite a clear graph for you to just see the comparison between non-COVID and COVID deaths. Because we couldn't be trusted to save the NHS by ourselves, we had to be locked up, and it's not just us, it's not just England, the UK, it's loads of places, and I thought this would be an interesting study to show you. I wanted to find out the percentage of deaths of cases in countries where they had long lockdowns versus no lockdowns, and I was surprised there are actually countries that haven't had any, besides Norway, which everyone knows about. So I'll show you this table, and it's not a graph, I didn't lie. I'll show you this table and talk you through it. I've got two sets of blocks of 4 countries. Costa Rica, Libya, Argentina and Montenegro were among the top countries with the longest lockdowns, and this was of about 6 days ago. Costa Rica had 184,187 cases and the deaths 2,416, which amounts to just 1.13% deaths from cases. Libya 300 days, and as you can see 1.52% deaths from cases. Argentina 303 days, 2.53%, and Montenegro 1.35%. So they're still quite low figures. But look at this for the countries that have had no lockdowns. None of these had any. 0.000. Norway 0.8% deaths. Turkey 0.9, Mongolia 0.1, UAE 0.2. So why all the lies? Why have they told us that if we don't stay locked up the NHS will break? Well, let me tell you this, the NHS over the last 20 years has changed beyond recognition. As a service user, I've noticed that the level of care has gone down, follow-ups, it's just deteriorated, and I'm really sorry if any of you are listening who work for the NHS. It's nothing personal, it's just that there are too many managers, and if you think about it, the NHS is just a government company. The NHS has private funders, it is a business, but so why have they lied to us? Why have the NHS have been complicit in this cover-up? Well, I think it's because of this. You probably know this, the news broke this week that we are going to have COVID vaccination passports. There are 3 companies so far that I've found, and that's MVine, VST Enterprise, they're mainly for lorries going through the tunnel, things like that, international, and iProve. Now this is probably a really good link to lead into my next video, because I was looking into these 3 companies when I made quite a discovery. Now if you only ever watch one more of my videos, please make it the next one. I discovered that some of these companies are in cahoots with the government, as we know, and the NHS, but there is one company that isn't on this list that is involved with all of these, and I won't tell you its name just yet. It's because it's about a real world simulation, and in short, I'll go into it in much more detail in my next video, but it's about creating scenes, like real scenes, like news bulletins and social media posts, to manipulate us into behaving in a certain way. And I never mentioned this before, but I will mention it now. A relative of mine has a friend who's an SHO at one of the top, well not top, but main London hospitals. And do you remember a few weeks ago there was a scene in the paper on the news of a load of ambulances queuing up, and there was one picture in particular with a guy being taken out on a stretcher with an oxygen mask. Well, the hospital that was at was the same one as my relative's friend was turning up to start his shift, and he said to my relative, well, that was pretty odd. This was meant to be this morning outside our hospital when I arrived at work, and there was nothing to see, nothing at all. And I thought, oh, it was just a mixed up with the time, and I pushed it to the back of my mind. It never really went away, but when I found out what I found out today, it was, it tied in perfectly. Now, because I haven't explained it very well, in no detail whatsoever, you're probably really confused, and I understand that, but I'm just letting you know that that's coming, and in my opinion it will be the most revealing video I've made to date. So I haven't written it yet, and it's going to be quite rushed, but hopefully with the key details. I usually spend about 5-6 days on a video, but this I've only shoved it together in one afternoon, so it won't be polished but hopefully informative. So thank you for watching. Hope this has reinforced your ideas that we are being lied to. I was hoping that something at least would show that our lockdown was worth it, but unfortunately I didn't. So I'll catch up with you in, well, hopefully the next day.